All right, going live in three, two, one. Well, this is Olivia on Air, episode number 29 with Olivia. And I must apologize to everybody. I was telling this to Olivia that I overslept. I was taking a little bit of a nap before we started, and the next thing I knew it was like a half hour into the show was supposed to begin, and Olivia was sending me emails, and that's why we're a little late this evening. So
We're doing well other than that though.
that's good. So yeah, how anything exciting in the world of you that we should our viewers would like to know about?
Just school stuff starting, which is why we didn't have the show last week. If anyone was wondering, one of my classes last minute was like moved or like I was placed in a different time frame of the same class that basically Thursday, Wednesday, and Tuesday my classes run like until 9 p.m. unfortunately. So that's why we had to last minute cancel that one. Um, so it should be maybe every Friday now.
Every Friday for the show? Yeah, we should be able to do something like that. That shouldn't be a problem. So if something comes up,
Okay.
we'll yeah, we can talk about. We can hear your dog in the background there.
Yeah, I made my window. I got a like AC thing in my window, and now like my window is obviously open, and so there's a dog barking.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, he seems to have quieted it down. So I guess whatever was causing. Well, I'm sorry. Is this he or her? I forget.
That one sounded like Beverly.
Early. Okay.
She
Is that
just generally hates everything. She shouldn't be barking this late at night, but she hates everything that she sees. So,
is that the one that's in your photo there that we can see, or is that
they're both in there. You can't really see the picture very well, but
okay?
yeah.
The dog, because what I'm looking at the dog is the in your picture, I see a dog's head to the right, and the other dog I can't. Is that the and where's the other dog in the picture? Because I'm
It's to the left a little. It's kind of like it's too exposed, like the brightness, I guess.
oh okay.
Um, to really be able to see her, but
Okay. Well, before we go too far, we got Danielle saying hey, hola. So hola back to you. So good. And also, before we go too far, don't forget about if you'd like to help support our show, we have NordVPN as an affiliate link in our description. So if you go with the deal that they list on their website through that link, that will help us to run our programs here. And I've used NordVPN in the past, and I think it's a very good product. I say it because I actually used it quite a few times when I had it on my computer, and every time I used it, it worked exactly the way it's supposed to. So if you're looking to hide yourself, you're looking to give yourself more security, I can tell you that it definitely will do the job if that's what you're looking for. And as several people have said, and you can also use it to watch movies and TV shows through streaming services that normally wouldn't allow you to do that. So, alrighty.
sorry, my dog's barking again. But yeah, and especially with the NordVPN, with using it for Netflix and other like streaming channels and other countries and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So and I as if you as I said before, if you click on that link and purchase that, I know the price on there is definitely a much greater discount than you would get if you purchased it directly from them. So it helps us run the show, and we really appreciate that.
Thank you.
So before we go too far, did you want to talk about your? I'm sorry. How do we decide how to call this your food week? I'm sorry. How does your how does that go again?
It's
Your
the food of the week, I think, or food discovery or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, that's I couldn't remember what it was called. So yeah, did you want to? I'll bring it up here. Do you want to tell everyone what you have this week?
Okay.
Yeah, okay, here we go. Your
I
this
have we got or I found the honey yummy combs. They're like honeycomb with chocolate over them. They are delicious.
oh what country is this one from? Because I know most of the time this is from another country.
I found it in the international section, but I'm not sure if it is international. It might just be like It might just be like a smaller brand. It says Belgian milk chocolate, but I'm not sure if it's from anywhere other than America.
Oh, it looks the wrapping the looks very different. That's for sure. Oh, here we go. Manufactured by Yummycomb Limited in United Kingdom. It says.
Oh, interesting.
There we go. Product of the United Kingdoms, store in cool, dry conditions out of sight. The and now, as far as the, would you refer to what it says? Candy, sugar. Obviously, most candy has sugar in it, but is it very sugary? How would you describe it as far as that goes?
I would describe it as sugary. It's like it's really exactly like you would think, I feel like, cuz I mean, it tastes just like honey and chocolate. It's it that's exactly what it tastes like.
Honey and chocolate. I don't think I've ever had honey and chocolate together. That's an interesting combination. The overall, though, you would say this is actually tasting pretty good as far as candies go with this kind of candy.
Yeah. It I thought it was going to be too sweet, and I feel like if you have more than like one or two, it can be too sweet, but I think it's pretty good. They're really
Mm.
good.
It says suitable for vegetarians. Interesting. I've never seen a candy that says that before. So,
I know that gelatin is usually made with some sort of animal fat. I think it's okay for vegetarians though. Um, but I know that vegans, since vegans don't eat any animal products, that includes honey. Like since bees make honey, so
oh,
they
really?
won't eat those.
Is are bees considered to be animals, or I thought they would be insects? That's interesting.
Yeah, it's like I guess it's I mean every vegan rule book, I guess, or that I've met, I guess, doesn't they don't eat honey because
Oh,
it's an animal making it or something like that. So,
gotcha. The I've heard that you bring that up. I was watching an episode of The Simpsons many years ago, and on the show, I don't know if you've ever seen this. The character Lisa Simpson on the show is a vegetarian, and she decided to start eating insects because she was told that that would not qualify for being a vegetarian.
ew.
So, and then during the course of the episode, she decided she didn't want to eat insects after all. So she was eating live worms and things like that. So, um,
Oh, live worms.
so when I saw that episode, I don't know how much in fact the show is based on. I thought maybe there was some truth to the fact that maybe that insects were considered different when it came to vegetarians and vegans. So that's
I
why I was
don't
asking
think
that question.
so. Um, I'm animals. I feel like animals encompasses insects too because insects they're not mammals, but they're animals. They're in the animal kingdom. They're very much a part of it. They're not
Yeah,
plants.
yeah, that's what I thought too. Of course, the show is I'm basing it on show logic. Who knows how truthful they are? There's another part of the Simpsons where they said many years ago, where they said if you're on one part of the world, the toilet will flush in one direction, and the toilet on like the northern hemisphere will flush one way, then the southern hemisphere will flush the other way. And that was a myth that was started by the show, and a lot of people, including myself, actually believed that for a long period of time. So the and there actually is some truth to that. The toilet will flush if you have absolutely no effect by the planet or anything or wind or any other forces around you. You might get a slight effect where it does go slightly in one direction or the other direction based on the hemisphere only. But
Interesting.
overall it's not true. So if you it'll generally flow whichever way the water just happens to be flowing at that time.
Right.
So anyway, okay, that's cool. So overall, it looks like it looks kind of tasty. I mean, um, I don't know if of course, as usual, I'll try anything. So, but would you try it again? How's that go?
I would try it again, and I would probably recommend it. If you're, I guess if you're not a vegan, I would recommend it. Just to try it. You know.
Okay, we got Kai Kyura. saying hello from Asgard. Oh, okay. Is that the let's say that's for the Vikings? Is that what I'm thinking of?
Yeah.
Am I pronouncing the name right? Kayura? I don't mean to mispronounce your name there. Sorry. So hello
It
back.
looks right.
Yeah. Alrighty. So and as far as I don't think we've ever said this before. Do you give your foods ratings? Would you give this a rating?
Um, yeah. I would probably give this probably a 7 out of 10.
Okay. Yeah, like bite-sized nuggets I see on the very bottom of the packaging there. So okay. The and oh, I see everything else. I don't see anything else on there. Anything else you'd like to add for this before we move on?
No, we can move on to the questions, right?
Yeah, we can do that. Let me bring that up here. Here we go. So our questions, we had two of them from last week, or from the last show, that is. What do you do if something breaks? We'll go with that one. Focus on that one first. Overwhelmingly, we said try to fix it. If I can't fix it, if I can't, then I'll throw it out with 75%. 11% with try to fix it. If I can't, I'll keep it. And 10% with I'll throw it away. And a tie with 2% with donate it or other with a comment below. So how do you feel about that?
That's about what I was expecting.
Let's see. Freedom Cobra says, I donate it. Okay. Alfred says, let me bring up one second. Bring up the old magnifying glass here. There we go. Let's see. Alfred says, Jack of all trades, master of none. I'm not sure what he means by that. What does he mean by that? Are you there?
Hmm?
What does he mean by that? What do you he says Jack of all trades, master of none with a thumbs up.
Maybe I'm not sure. Maybe this person tries to fix it and then it might not work
Okay.
sometimes.
Got three thumbs up, so it's a popular response there. So Renegade Emma says buy a new one. Says try to fix. Nick says I'll try to fix it. If I can't, I'll keep it if it's worth it. Blazewell says just keep it in my drawer of old and broke stuff, except if it's something that's sharp. Okay.
That's smart.
I have a drawer full of stuff that's just like a collection of stuff, but I'm sure there's stuff in there that's broken. Maybe I just don't feel like fixing. So I'm sure there's stuff in there that's mixed into that with well as well. So I could see something like that. So Assad Imran says my things are not broken. Okay,
Sorry, I find that funny for some reason.
but this one right here.
Yeah, it seems my things are not broken. It just seems like kind of defensive.
Let's see. Andre Neri B says, I have no idea. I wouldn't know what to do if maybe I'd try to fix it, or not even if I have the problem in order to solve it. KK. Okay. Let's see. CST official says, I'll try to fix it. If I can't, I'll throw it out. And finally, I think the last one. Let's see if I can bring this down a little bit. Oops. I have to, don't seem to be able to. Okay, here we go. Planet Harsat Nair says not first. Oh, okay, so he's just saying he's not the first person to leave a comment. Alrighty. Let me see if there's any other comments on there. I think that was it. Okay, that was it. Okay, there we go. Alrighty. Well, we appreciate that. Anything else you'd like to add to that?
No, I think that's pretty good.
Okay. So our next question was about musicals. What is your favorite musical? So we had a whoa. Was that right? Oh, 22 responses. I thought I said 52 responses. The Sound of Music overwhelmingly was 69%. 11% with Your Choice. 8% with the Blues Brothers. 6% with the Muppets, and it was a tie with 6% with the Muppets and Annie. So good. Um, the anything you'd like to add to that one?
Not really.
Okay. Let me bring this up over here one more time.
I think that seems about right.
Here we go. First, I can't read the first one. Sorry. E1 He won Bell says Dr. Dre, he's cool in my honest opinion. Dr. Dre. Did he do a musical? Maybe he's thinking about music in general.
Oh yeah, you're probably right.
Farsight Gates says do re mi. Okay. Uh, and Gamer says Mozart. Uh, Itachi says it was a good day. I wonder if that's a
Good.
reference to the Mad Max movie. I don't know. The most recent one, there's one of the characters says it's a good day or something like that. I can't remember. So
Oh,
Gustavo Gomez says Musica de Copa de Mundo. Not familiar with that. RJ says, let's go right. Grease or West Side Story, the OG movie. Ah,
ooh, we did forget about Greece. I feel like.
yeah, Grease is yeah, I remember that both of those from when I was a kid. West Side Story was a movie that my parents loved, so they loved it so much they forced me to watch it when I was a kid. I don't remember very much, but I do remember seeing bits and pieces of it. So, and I do agree that Grease was I had my parents had bought the soundtrack, so when I was a kid, I heard that over and over and over again. So I have right now I'm actually playing some of the music in my head because of that. So I came in with a wrecking ball. Says you all sleeping on Rogers the musical, BRIH. Uh, Rogers the musical. You know what
I've
that is?
not heard of that. I can only think of like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Hmm. Okay. Let's see. Mr. Professional says Backstreet Boys. Okay. Caesar Viapondo says Michael Jackson. Of course, Willy Wonka. I guess that was I didn't even think about that. The original one from 1971 was a
Oh yeah.
yeah. But the new one, have you ever seen the new one? I don't know if we discussed that one.
Yes, the one with Johnny Depp.
Yeah, was that a musical?
Um, for some reason, it seems to me through this little uh, I guess talking about musicals, it seems like my brain does not recognize a musical very easily. I don't know why. I understand like it's when they're singing and dancing, but for some reason that blends in to me with a movie. So I can't remember because I don't remember if there were singing and dancing parts of it.
Yeah.
I kind of just forget about those parts.
Let's see. I can't pronounce the name, but the Beatles with Yesterday. Okay, that's like a music video. There's oh there how many Beatles movies were there? Have you seen any of the Beatles movies? I remember Yellow Submarine. Have you seen any of their movies?
I don't think I've seen any of the movies. I know my parents talked about them, but I don't think I've seen them.
Okay, because I Yellow Submarine they do play a lot of their songs throughout the movie. So I guess I don't know. I guess that would be considered a musical. So um, the rich East girl says a Diva's Christmas Carol. Never heard that one. Uh, Noah 2K4 says 6 9 songs with the 6 and 9 spelled out in there. I've never heard of
That's
them.
a musician.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. Okay. What kind of music is that?
I think it's mainly rap.
Okay. And just to go over here for a second, we have a Savage 666 says hi. So hi back to you. Okay. Okay, then we have random person says Justin Bieber baby. That's a killer musical. Hmm. Are you familiar with that? I know what Justin Bieber is, but I'm not familiar with the. Is that like a musical?
I think that's referencing his song. One of his first songs is Baby, and the music video that goes with it is kind of. It's like iconic for people around my age because that's like one of the first. For like I guess my generation, that's one of the first like I guess like boy musicians that everyone kind of fangirled over. So
Oh, okay. That kind of sounds like. Have you ever seen the Michael Jackson video for Thriller? You ever seen that?
yeah,
That would be kind of like a music video. That would be kind of a musical of sorts, a miniature version because it starts off and then there's talking, and it goes into the song, and then there's more talking. So it would be kind of like in that kind of realm, or how it's laid out.
kind of.
Okay. Alrighty. Does Z says Blues Brothers for me, and I would have put Mary Poppins over Sound of Music. Okay. Let's see. Blue Boy says South Park the movie. It's a musical, right? Oh, I completely forgot about that. I think, have you seen that?
I have not.
Okay. I remember when that came out, and I do remember that there was a lot of music in it. I don't remember seeing it, but I do remember seeing parts of it. So I completely forgot about that. Little Shop of Horrors. That's true. Uh, what is the second one for sure? I don't think the first one was a musical though. So I think they're referring strictly to the remake of the Little Shop of Horrors, the one that came out in the 80s. So have you seen that movie?
I have not.
Okay, that's a very interesting movie. The original one came out like in the 1950s, like a B movie, or 1960s. I can't remember exactly. Black and white, and it was I want to say Jack Nicholson, wasn't it? I think. And it was before he was a well famous actor. I don't remember. I could look that up, of course. The second one had a main cast of well known stars. So it was like they took a B movie and they made a comedy out of it. So
Cool.
Oklahoma. Okay, that's interesting. I barely remember that one. And Grease or Cabaret. Was that Cabaret? Both are great. Cabaret. What's that? That sounds familiar.
I have not. I mean, like I think I've heard of it, but I don't think it's the musical version that I'm thinking of.
Okay. And another Greece. They say, well, yeah, we should have added Greece to our list there. So a lot of people saying Greece. So, alrighty. Cool. Well, thank you very much for participating, everyone, for that one. So, um, I'll go ahead and bring up our question. Is there anything you'd like to add to that one before we ask our question for this week?
No, I think that kind of sums everything up.
Alrighty. So, did you want to ask I'll go ahead and bring your question up for this week. Did you want to go ahead and ask that?
Yes. My question for this week was something along the lines of, what is your favorite coffee brewing method?
Yes.
Um, I feel like in the last year, I learned a lot, like a lot about coffee brewing and stuff. I mean, a lot for someone who didn't know anything, which really makes me a novice still at coffee brewing because it's, I feel like it's quite an iceberg because I didn't realize how deep coffee brewing is and how much like wine it is. There's so many different ways to brew coffee, and everything that you do with each method kind of changes each method, if that
Hmm.
makes sense.
So,
um
you almost call it an art form?
I would. It's a very serious hobby. It's definitely like it's kind I didn't know that there were so many brewing methods, and then when you research a brewing method that you think you might like, there are so many different variables, and you just have to. I feel like it's one of those things that um, coffee can definitely be just like something that helps you wake up in the morning, but it can also be like you said, an art form. It can definitely it's almost culinary. Like, I mean, for Christmas, I got an espresso machine, and I do not know how to make good espresso by any means
Uh-huh.
yet.
Uh,
Maybe when I'm like 40, I will be able to make good espresso. Um, but it's really, really fun. And like the process is, it's like cooking. And it's also like a ritual sort of thing. But yeah, it's very cool, very neat.
oh. So, are you a do you do you drink coffee on a regular basis?
Yes.
Oh,
I realized a couple months ago when I didn't have coffee for like the first time in a while that I am addicted because I had withdrawal. I had coffee withdrawal.
oh, that's interesting. That's quite interesting. I gotta say that of all the drinks out there, that's one thing I've never had in my entire life was coffee. I've never even tasted it. Though I guess the closest I've ever come is coffee ice cream. So I don't know if that's I purchased that. I don't know if that's has any taste that's similar to actual coffee or not, but that's probably the closest I've ever come. So
It's actually pretty similar. It kind of depends. If there's like a lot of add-ins like toffee and chocolate, it's less similar, but if it's just like pure coffee ice cream, it's pretty much like it's almost like having a cup of coffee, except really sweet.
Okay. I do know that there was a what's the famous coffee? Starbucks. Starbucks. One of the people I used to work with, every night she would come into work after she would work after me, and she would take everyone's order and then basically just bring everybody coffee from Starbucks every night. It was her big thing to bring it in. So, how do you feel about Starbucks?
Um, well, a lot of the drinks on the menu are not actually like what they are in real life, if that makes sense. Like they have like a cappuccino and a caramel macchiato, and those drinks are not like the Starbucks version is totally different from the real life version, if that
Hmm.
makes sense.
Real life
Um,
version. So you mean there's an actual version that's based on they're just not doing it correctly or something to that effect?
right. It's almost like they made the menu and they didn't ask someone who knows about coffee what coffee is, you know? What the different coffee drinks are. Which is fine. I mean, having their own Starbucks version of everything is fine, but it's I mean, some people go in and they expect the regular, the real life version of a drink, and then they get the Starbucks version, and then they get mad. So there's a problem there. But like the yeah,
Okay. I'm not a yeah, I have been to a Starbucks. Like I said, I never actually drank coffee, so I'd usually get something else when I was there. So I'm not a it's stuff. Whenever I go in there, I just I get kind of turned off because I'm like, since the coffee's not my thing, it just never really nothing there really seems to really make me want us to go there in the first place. So uh,
yeah. I mean, it's a fine place if you need some energy or like, I guess a snack and like a tea or something. But if you want, I feel like if you want to get into coffee and I don't know, grow an appreciation for it, finding like a small coffee shop in your town somewhere would probably be a better bet for that kind of thing.
gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, it's I'm trying to make a comparison to say a fast food place, but I can't really think of any. I don't know. McDonald's has their own version of hamburgers, of course, and but I will say one of the things about McDonald's is their French fries always tasted really really good. I don't know, there's probably a lot of starch added to it or something that makes it taste that way. So, but as far as what you're saying is Starbucks, at least for those specific coffees, they are, it's their own thing, I guess. Maybe you could say it's their own put on take on a different kind of flavor or style. Would you say that maybe?
Yeah, kind of, yeah. It's I mean not all of them are like that, but some of them, especially the cappuccino, that's I feel like it's kind of hard to explain, but that one is definitely like totally different at Starbucks and then the rest of the world. And the amount, like the fact that I think a big part of it is the fact that they have different sizes for their drinks. Um, so that like it kind of makes it so they have to change the drinks so that they can be scaled up and scaled down, if that
Hmm.
makes sense.
Okay. The my best friend, he and I have been friends since we were 10 years old. About 20 years ago, he would go to the 7-Eleven, maybe even earlier than this. Every morning he'd just go to the 7-Eleven. He had this huge uh jug they would just fill up with the coffee. They'd go up to the coffee machine there, just fill the whole thing up. So and I don't know if you've ever had 7-Eleven coffee.
I have not. I have not.
Okay, so he loved it. So obviously, he got this. I would say like a gallon jug of coffee every morning, or whatever it was. It was large. It might have been a gallon. It might have been a little less, but it was pretty large. He was always bragging about how he had this big jug of coffee every time we got together. So like it was some sort of like to him it was almost like I don't know like some sort of like a prize of sorts. I don't know. It was just like it was just to him. It was like he thought everybody should be having this great thing that he had. So, but as far as the coffees go, there, I'm just curious if anyone could tell us what the your comparison of like maybe 7-Eleven brand coffee. Do they even make coffee anymore? I guess they do. I haven't been there in a while. And other places that have coffee like Starbucks, and and maybe the smaller coffee shops and things like that, and other locations. What other places would sell coffee? Um,
Yeah, yeah. And tell us what your favorite place to get coffee is if you get coffee, I guess.
okay, you want me to add that to the question, maybe? Like we could, because I haven't posted yet.
Ooh.
I could put it at the bottom. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
if you drink coffee or something like that.
okay. Coffee. I know I misspelled that. I get that. Your favorite place to purchase it? Get it?
Yeah.
There's also my parents when I was a kid, they used to have coffee grinding machines at the supermarket. Ever seen those?
Yeah. I don't think I've seen them at like a supermarket, but I know that they exist.
Yeah, the I haven't seen one in a long time, so maybe they stopped doing that. But I remember, I think it was the Giant maybe that used to have those. So you'd walk inside and you go to a certain section and just be this big. You put your bag out and turn the machine on, and it just. I think my parents used to do that many years ago, so I wasn't sure. So okay, if you drink coffee, what is your
Oh
favorite?
yeah. They used to have those at Trader Joe's. I don't know if they still do, but when I was a kid, we would go to Trader Joe's and that's where my parents got coffee and they would do the coffee grinders themselves.
Right, right, and yeah, I just when I was thinking about that, that just popped into my head. So yeah, so supermarkets, Starbucks, 7-Eleven, those are the places I can think of where you would get coffee, I guess. So, alrighty.
Wawa is another one, like gas
Yeah,
stations in general.
yeah. Okay. Anything else that look good? I'm gonna
That
go
looks
ahead.
good.
Cool. All right, there we go. So we'll come back to that. Alrighty. So for this evening's movie, we decided to watch Bedknobs and Broomsticks from 1971. Would you like to describe this movie?
It is a little hard to describe, but I do find every movie a little hard to describe, to be fair. Um,
Oh, before you go too far, so don't mean to interrupt. We got Big Man is cool. Oh 05 says, please shout out, please. Hello. Hello again. And then Desenhaus played 3.0 says hi as well. So he removed his Christmas tree, by the way. So
Aw, I
yeah,
guess that's fitting.
yeah,
Um, so, Bedknobs and Broomsticks. It's a movie. It's set in, is it like late 30s or early 40s England?
yeah. That's the. I was trying to figure that part out too. So yeah, because obviously it involves the Nazis.
Yeah.
So and that was a major, okay, a pretty big part of the movie. So yeah, I'm not sure exactly what year, but yeah, during the period. And also, it had before you go too far, it has Angela Lansbury in it. And I was looking at her, I was like, does she ever age at all? I mean, she looks like the same age she did when she made the Murder She Wrote television show during the 80s and 90s. So
You're right. She does look the same. Oh my god, maybe she is a witch. Okay. So in the movie, she
there she
plays a
is.
witch. Um she is training to be like a full witch or something. Um and it's kind of like online school except it's over the mail. So basically she gets like in a little kit, she gets different training stuff. I guess maybe maybe once a week or once a month or something. And she just kind of keeps training to become a witch. And then they brought children in. Where were they from? It was like an orphanage that was taking in children from something that was happening with the war. And then the woman organizing everything asked the witch to take in 3 children. And the witch was like, I don't want to do that, but I will, I guess. And so she did. Um, and the kids pretty quickly figured out that she was a witch, and she turned one of them into a bunny.
Yeah, that seems to be a common thing throughout the movie, turning people into bunnies for short periods of time.
Yeah. I don't really remember. I guess maybe she got. Oh, he doesn't believe. That one kid with the green sweater
Yeah, there
does
you go.
not believe in witches. He doesn't believe that she's a witch. Um, even though he saw her flying on a broom and crashing. So I'm not sure how that works, but um, I kind of forget how it happens. Oh, she needs to figure out the substitutionary locomotion spell, I think.
Okay, that one I don't remember, but yeah, go ahead.
And then um or maybe she uses the substitute. No, I don't know. Um she they get on a bed at one point and then they teleport to where her witch professor is. And then they try to, figure out where the last, you know, class is, I guess, the last class segment.
And that's when we're introduced to the other kind of main character in this movie. Is that the
Yeah. And then they do that cool artsy like transition. I don't know if you caught that there, but there's like whenever they get on the bed and they teleport, they do this fun little artsy transition.
Oh, that's right here. Or is this
Yeah.
record? Yeah, here we go. Okay, let me see if we can play that real quick. Oh, I missed it. I think I missed it there. So yeah, it's not, the scrolling doesn't seem to. There we go. So, there we go, like this, right? There we go. Yeah, kind of
I
a.
love it. I don't know why, but it seems like something you would see on a really really early YouTube video. The
Hmm.
kind of so it's really impressive because it seems like it's much more futuristic than I guess it is.
It kind of like, reminds me of Willy Wonka when they're going
Yeah, yeah.
through the boat on the boat ride. Yeah. So
It's exciting editing
yes.
for that
So
time especially. But yeah, they go and they find the professor who's doing cheap magic tricks that don't really work. Um and I guess it's implied that he's actually like not very he's kind of I guess a little bit of a fraud. He's kind of swindling people. He's not like actually very good. He doesn't really believe in his witch lessons.
yeah, and he basically he's actually surprised, right, that any of the tricks actually work, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. And
Uh,
as the
Go
story
ahead.
progresses, I don't mean to interrupt you. They imply that somehow him and Angela Lansbury's character should be together as a couple or something to that effect.
Yeah, I did not feel that.
Yeah, I didn't feel that either. That was kind of odd. So
It
and they
seemed quite forced.
yeah, and the kids were saying, "Oh, we want you as our daddy," and I was like, "Okay, that didn't make any sense either."
Yeah, that was just weird. It seemed like just because he was a man and she was a woman, they were like, well, let's just put these two together.
Yeah, yeah. Even there's even a scene at the very end where they kiss, and it's like it didn't even seem like they're kind of forcing the kiss to
Yeah.
so
But I guess it's a little expected of this time, I guess.
right, right. The so the so what was the quest? They had to go on to find a quest. This is where I got a little confused. So they had to go on a quest to find the medallion that was on that the Lion King, whatever he was wearing, right?
Yeah. That medallion had the last spell that they needed to, I guess, for her to finish the witch school or something. It was like the last spell that she needed to have in her repertoire. Which, I don't really understand that either because, first of all, she wasn't that good at the spells that she had. So I thought maybe mastering those first would be better because, like, she kept trying to do other things other than turn people into bunnies. But every time she did it, she just turned them into bunny.
Right. Right. And yeah, and then the spell would last for a little bit and they'd just go back and that was it. And it was like the only spell she actually did, wasn't it? There was no other spells at all.
Right. And then there was when they finally figured out what the substitutionary locomotion spell was, it was literally just all the objects in the room walking around and, doing human stuff. But I feel like to me, having a bed that teleports is much, much more valuable and cooler than having a bunch of crap in your room that moves around by itself.
Yeah, yeah. And what was the whole? Now that's the thing that also got me a little confused. Where it was the Nazis? What did the Nazis have to do with anything? That part? Why were they
I have
constantly
no
coming after them?
idea.
Okay,
I didn't
'cause-
understand that either, actually. Um, maybe it was just a plot point to make something more complex, or maybe it was trendy at that time to make movies that kind of look back on the past in that way. Um,
I would have to say 1971 though, just to be fair, the World War II was still prominent in a lot of people's because it only taken place like about 20 was that 25 years 26 years earlier. So
right,
a lot of people were still that had experienced that time period. It's kind of like saying like something from the 1990s from today, like 1995 or
right.
97 or something like that. So, but yeah, go ahead.
I didn't really get it, but I kind of accepted it. I think it was another one of those movies that's a little more on the artsy side, and so I feel like I don't really care as much about the plot as I do about like the way that they incorporated the cartoon, and like we were talking about the editing and stuff like that. That stuff was really cool, and I was really focused on that
Mhm.
personally.
No, now talking about the cartoons, let me jump ahead to that. Oh, there's like this little dance. Let me stop here before I go to the cartoon. So this little dance routine, like all these different military people coming together. What was the point of this? Because I missed that as well. I remember watching it. I was like, okay, this is kind of interesting. All these different kinds of militaries coming together. Did it serve any purpose though for the plot?
I think it was just to be cool and maybe show the diversity of that location, how it was a bunch of people brought together. I didn't really think that much into it. I was just kind of watching the dancing.
Okay, it was kind of interesting there. So, let's see. Yeah, there's a lot of different cultural things there. Who was this?
And this old man, I don't know why he wanted that spell so bad, and I don't understand why they had to keep it from him.
Yeah, that was all I didn't fully understand that part either. So, let's see.
I
So,
mean, I just figure it doesn't really matter if he has the spell. He's so old, he's not going to be able to use it for much longer anyway.
mhm. And what was the purpose of going underwater? So there's a lot of things in this movie where I was like, what is the purpose of this? What is the purpose of this?
I think with the underwater thing, well, first of all, I thought it was pretty cool.
Mhm.
And secondly, I'm pretty sure they teleported to the island, but they had teleported um to the like water around the island first. And I think that they mainly did that to have the fish say to them, "Don't go up to the don't go up onto the land, the dry land. Humans and animals like are fighting or something like that."
Mhm. I gotta say that the mix of animation and live action was done actually pretty well. It's not too bad.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed by how the bubbles went over their faces and stuff. It made it look more like all together.
Yeah, yeah. It gave it the blending of everything just really seemed to work. The animation obviously is pretty good because it's Disney, and usually Disney does good animation. But it's yeah. Overall, I thought that was a very nice mix of how they did that. So
I definitely like the underwater scenes. It's very pretty. I like the backgrounds are very beautiful.
mhm. So then we go up here. We go to land. Uh, this is when we're introduced to the actual inhabitants of the island of, and I forget how to pronounce it. Do you remember what the island was called?
Nabumbu,
Okay.
something like that.
And now this is the part that I thought was also a little odd. They go all their way to get this medallion that I forget what it's called again around the king lion's neck, and then they at the very end it just disappears anyway. And it's like all they had to do was just remember it, and it turns out it was in a book that the kid had it all along. So the whole adventure was just kind of a waste of time anyway. So
Yeah, that was annoying.
so, and aside from that, though, the animation, I was trying to remember if I'd ever seen this before, and I don't remember any of these scenes at all. But let me jump ahead here. Some of these scenes where they're doing the soccer thing, maybe I've seen this before somewhere when I was a kid, partially because this kind of brought something back. but I don't think overall I don't think I think this was the very first time I've seen this movie. And I say that because sometimes I'll watch a movie and then like years later I'll come back and I'll go, have I seen this? And then like 20 minutes and I go, oh yeah, I have seen this. This one was not really like that, but these scenes kind of triggered something. Like I've seen something with this before. So
Right. Yeah, I have definitely. I watched it quite a bit when I was a kid, but we have it on tape, so I didn't watch it again until like now. And the main things I remember were the cartoon parts, so I totally forgot about like any of the other plot or anything
mhm.
around it.
And
You know?
was there do you remember a Walt Disney type movie about Robin Hood where Robin Hood was a cartoon fox character?
Yes, yes.
Because this for some reason kind of triggers memories for that. Like something is very similar about that in some way. Maybe the cartoon
They
work was probably similar in that way. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, they are very similar. The cartoon the look of the cartoons are very, very similar.
Okay, it could be that I'm remembering that or something too. So maybe that's what I'm thinking of. But overall, so they have the football. I found it interesting that these people are from Great Britain. They kept on saying soccer at the beginning, and some of the characters would actually say football because obviously they don't call it soccer over in that part of the world. They call it football. So it's like they couldn't make up their mind which way to call it. I assume they were gearing it toward an American audience, so they're probably telling the actors, "Please say soccer," because we're trying to make this more toward Americans. And then occasionally the characters will actually say football instead of soccer. So,
Yeah, I was a little confused about that.
so after they go through the game, which was the animation was pretty good, it was really good. They finally go through. He does the switcheroo. Yes, have you ever heard of such and such technique or something? And that's when he swaps it out and gives him the referee whistle instead of the medallion. So, yeah.
Yeah, I liked all those parts. I remember very well for some reason the part where they switch out the medallion and the whistle. I don't know why, but that oh, you know what? I think that might be why it reminds you of Robin Hood too, because in Robin Hood when they are when the Robin Hood and the bear when they're stealing from the king,
Mhm.
they they kiss the king's rings, and it's a similar sort of thing where it's like right out from under the king's nose, and that's kind of satisfying to me for some reason.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I can't remember if I saw that one or not. I might because I might have just had the record album when I was a kid that had the Robin Hood thing on there. I'm not sure, so I'd have to watch that again to. Yeah, I might just be remembering like still shots from that movie as well. So, um,
Right.
as far as why did they have to steal from the king? Because the king didn't say like he was a bad person per se. Why did they just ask if they could just read it? So,
That is something I did not think about. That's a good point. I don't know.
It's just this whole part was just seemed like I said, it's like it was just to have a section with the cartoon characters, obviously, but the reason for being there just didn't, for the overall sake of the story, just doesn't really make any sense to me. So, but if you're looking for obviously they wanted to have this nice, the cartoon segment, so that's why they put it in there. I don't think they could have come up with a better reason for some of the things they were doing here, I guess, and to make it have more sense for the plot, I guess. So,
Yeah, it's more. I guess it's more for the art of it, the techniques that they were using, and I respect that. I think it's a fun movie anyway. If it's like easy for you to ignore the plot of a movie, it doesn't like irk you too much. If there's like a good artistry there, then this is probably a good movie for you.
now the cat in this, before we go too far, because I've been wanting to say something, the cat's fur is like really messed up here. I mean, I don't know what they did to this poor kitty, but his fur is all messed up. And I bring it up because I have right now I have two cats. Obviously, my little Avatar, the one that's blinking right now on mine. He's also long hair, black like this one, and his hair is very smooth. It does they. I'm guessing that they maybe took the cat and put him in water or something, or watered up his fur and put something in there to make it stand up like that. I have another picture I'd like to bring up here. this is my other cat from that died back in 2019. These cats are both dead right now. So, but this cat on the left, as you can see, kind of has he died. He was 19 when he died. The last few years of his life also had that kind of fluffed up hair problem that the cat in the movie has. So the first thing I noticed was I was like, he looks kind of like my cat did before he died. So
Oh.
so I'm thinking to myself, oh, the kitty just needed some help there. I don't know why they. Yeah, obviously, they did that to the cat because the cat's hair does not look like that naturally. A cat's going to naturally try to groom itself. So I felt more sorry for the cat than anything else. So
Yeah, maybe they were trying to make it look more like a witch's cat, like a toughen up or something like that.
uh-huh. Yeah, and Disney has this thing, I'm sure you've seen this as well, where they don't seem to like cats very much. So not all of their cartoons, but there's a large number of them at the very least, and in live action as well, where the cat is just a bad character in general. So
Yeah, I feel like a lot of like kids movies do that where the cat is evil and the dog is good.
yeah, 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 for me, it's like every time I see the cat, I always think the cat's the good guy. So because I've had cats all my life, so I'm always kind of confused as to why they think the cat would be the bad person. So
Yeah, and it's really I mean, it doesn't really make any sense because animals aren't like evil. You know, they're not conscious enough to be evil. Cats, I feel like people just think that cats are um I guess evil or something because of first of all how movies portray them, but also because they can't control them like they can control dogs and they don't like that. So,
hmm, good point.
some
Now I
people don't
was
like that.
the two cats I just brought up, when I had them, I could actually control them very well. So, and I've heard other people say what you say, that cats could do whatever they want, but actually I could control those cats pretty well. So, and so whenever people would say it to me, I'd be a little confused because I'd be like, no, well, I can control my cats. If I told them to come over, they would come over. If I told them to stop doing something, they'd stop doing something. Of course, those cats were extremely well behaved. The two cats I have right now, the ones that I use for my avatars, they will they are just afraid of everything, so they're harder to control. So they usually just tend to run away, or if I'm not around, they'll try to destroy something. So
Oh.
they are a little different than the ones I've had in the past. So
Yeah, and that's another, I mean, it just goes to show that all cats are totally different. So, but
yeah.
it's definitely like Disney for kids movies especially to just make sweeping generalizations about animals and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. This kid's fresh face right here. I just happened to pause. So they come back, and this is where you're talking about before. Yeah, I completely forgot. There was the other spell. As soon as you said that, came back, where they bring things to life, kind of. So,
And
uh,
it's very cool how they made it look. I don't understand. I don't know how they did that. It's
oh
very
yeah,
cool, but it just seems pointless. Like a bed that teleports is so much cool. You can go anywhere and
hmm
then go home. I don't understand.
I'm curious as to why they chose a bed for that reason. Why not they say a car or something else? I guess something in a house. I mean, if if they're looking for something that would be found readily in a home, obviously a bed, maybe a couch could also work. I guess I don't know. I'm trying to figure out why they chose a bed specifically, though.
Maybe it was the amount of people. It didn't look like she had a car. I don't really remember.
Hmm.
Maybe it was just the amount of people. They all fit on a bed, so
Yeah,
and it was a bed knob that the kid was using to teleport, so
yeah. Yeah. Before we go too far, I also want to mention that Roddy McDowell's in this too, obviously. So he's one of my I wouldn't say one of my favorite actors. I do like him in a lot of movies though, so it's cool to see him in this. So
yeah, a
he's all
little cameo.
yeah. So he comes. So this is where the Nazis start to come make a more prominent role here, which is kind of weird. Because they come in and they start taking over, and this is where they have to create their own little army to defeat the evil Nazis with the walking clothing. So, this is why I didn't understand what was going on here exactly. I
I
mean,
have no clue. I'm not gonna lie. At this point, I was content with the cartoon stuff, so I didn't really care too much about what was going on.
okay. The only problem I have with this, when they show Nazis being evil, and I'm not saying that they're good, but so there were. I look at the people in these movies. Sometimes you have the what you call the grunt, like the lower ranking off people in the military, like the privates and things like that, that were drafted into the military. They didn't want to be there in the first place. So some of these evil Nazi soldiers that they're showing may have been just people that didn't want to be in the army in the first place. They might not, but they had to be. They were forced in there because they were simply drafted in or something. So whenever I see them showing the Nazis all being pure evil, I could see that with the higher ranking officers because they will be dedicated to the cause. But the lower ranking officers, they may even disagree with the cause. They just had to be there because they're against their will. So I always have this. It's same with like the Indiana Jones movies. He's always battling the Nazis. I'm thinking to myself, he's killing them, but you don't know those lower ranking soldiers. They may not. They may be on his side for all you know. So
Yeah, I feel like that's still true now. I feel like there are like videos going around where like people ask, it's like the foot soldiers of our military, I don't know what branch or whatever, it's too complicated. But they ask them why they joined the military, and some of them say like, I didn't have any money because I like hurting myself or something like that. It was just like really depressing. I feel like a lot of people in the lower ranks, like you say, just don't want to be there.
right, and especially if you're drafted in. I mean, that's that's when you have a draft, you're definitely bringing in people that just have. I'm sure a large percentage of the people just, why am I here? Why do I have to do this? I don't want to. I have better things to do with my life than this. So and I will say this: they didn't kill any Nazis, that's for sure. But they just made them out to be pure evil all the way through. So, like I said, the higher ranking officers, I could see that for sure. But the lower ranking ones, I'm always like, how do I know that they really want to be so evil? But anyway, the
And again, this is a kids movie, so it's like making it black and white for kids. I feel like that's usually how Disney does it.
mhm,
It's good or evil, you know,
right, right. So these other
especially with
soldiers,
older movies.
right? These soldiers that she brings to life, it's kind of like it goes back to that dance scene where you had all those people from the different militaries dancing, and now this one she's bringing to life different soldiers from different eras in a way. So, and you're right. These effects that they have are really good. I like these effects. I don't know how they did that, but it's done pretty well.
Yeah, that mystifies me. I have no clue.
Yeah, and so they come in, and the Nazis they they yeah the Nazis get scared and run away. Is that what happens? I think that's
I
what
think
happens.
so.
And for a second there, when the guy got shot with these arrows, I thought they killed him for a second. I was like, oh wait, but did they kill that guy? And I had to go back and make sure. No, the arrows just through. I guess obviously for kids they're not going to do that, but it's like he was fine afterwards. He was just kind of scared. So yeah, but so they go off, they battle the Nazis, and this is where he goes off to war, and then they show um, them going off to fight in the war. But they're wearing, this is supposed to be World War II, but they're wearing like World War One style helmets. So maybe I'm wrong, but those look like helmets that would be from the First World War, not the Second World War. And the other thing is, these men are like much older than you'd see for an average soldier. I don't think they would survive. I don't think you would have soldiers this old in the military. Um, and even him, even the our what's his name, Emilius? Is that right?
I
Uh,
I'm not sure.
he's also kind of up there in age too. Let's see. He was Angela Lansbury was 46 years old when this movie was made. Let me see here. I'm trying to see how old he was. He was actually even older. So he's actually about 8 years older than her. So what's that make that eight, about 54? So he's supposed to be 54 years old and he's going to fight off in the war. Uh,
Maybe they were desperate, and that's why the helmets were old.
that's true. That's a good point there. Yeah. But I can't imagine you have to be really, really desperate. I mean, people that are getting that some of these people look like they're like way over, like they're getting to like some of them in their 70s. Yeah. So, but yeah, I see he decides he's going to go fight off in the war, and that's the honorable, patriotic thing to do, I guess, for this movie. So, and that's when you see the little kiss between the Angela Lansbury and him. And uh, what was the follow up here? I mean, what was the at the
I
very end?
don't know. I
It
think
just
that was just kind of it.
Yeah, there's nothing that really seemed to. This didn't really seem to matter as far as him going off to be in the war. It almost seems like it would have been better for them to just have, since they're trying to imply that the two of them should be mother and father to these kids, that he should be there helping to take care of the kids rather than maybe they're going to start a family or something.
Yeah, or like, I don't know, I feel like the next more logical step would have been to get back on the bed and go teleport somewhere and do more witch stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And this whole ending just as it came seems to go in a weird direction. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna go fight the war. And I'm like, okay, why? And it was like, I didn't know why I was doing that. So
Maybe they were trying to do like they were trying to do like PR for the military.
okay, kind of interesting considering when this movie came out, there was a very anti-military sentiment going on in the United States at that time. So, alrighty. So, I guess anything else you'd like to add to the overall plot?
I don't think so. I think it's again, I think it's just one of those artsy movies. I really just remember it for the cool cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
Um yeah, would you how would you rate this movie?
Oh, I was going to get into that. I wanted to say as far as the movie goes, uh, I think for as far as the movie goes, the plot is just kind of hard to follow, and I guess maybe it's made more like you said you saw this when you were a child, correct?
Yeah.
So maybe it's geared more for children in that sense. Then like you said, just not to think about it because I kept on trying to figure out where the plot was going all the time. It just didn't really seem to go in any kind of direction that made really much sense. It just seemed to be zigzagging all over the place, and especially this whole final scene where he goes off into the military. I'm like, what's it's like I'm thinking to myself, there's is like you said, just don't think about it, I guess, like, and just go with what's going on screen. But for me, it's just I was just too focused on the plot to just really enjoy that part of the movie overall. Though I will say the scenes were enjoyable, it just seemed to me like because I'm looking for logic in the story, I was I was kind of lost as the movie progressed. So, and as far as if you want me to give a final rating, I'd probably give it like maybe like a 6 out of 10 or so.
Yeah, that's fair. I know what you're saying. I feel like this is definitely, if you are like a logical person, this might not be a fun movie for you, but if you are a child or if you have a child and you kind of just want to show them some really cool animation um, and really fun cartoons and stuff, this is a great movie for that. It's one of those movies you just got to kind of go along for the ride, you know?
Yeah,
I
and
guess
you're good. Sorry.
I would definitely recommend it for kids and like families because it's kind of just a fun movie. And I probably for the art of it, I would probably rate it like a 7 out of 10.
Okay. Okay.
If
So,
yeah, the more you ignore the plot, the better it is.
so as far as that's for the art of it. That's a 7 out of 10. But what about the rest of the movie itself?
I would go with what you said, like 6 out of 10. I feel like the artistry is really good for that time, and it's like it would probably be a good thing to study, like the animations and stuff. It would probably be a good thing to study if you're like studying uh, the history of animation or something. This could be a good point to talk about.
Hmm. Okay. And I will say, getting to this animation, have you ever seen any of the Herbie the Love Bug movies with the Volkswagen?
I've heard of it. I definitely have heard of them.
Okay, there's one movie, I forget which one. I remember seeing it when I was a kid in the theater, and the animation looks very similar to some of the animation that's done here. Obviously, it's a Disney movie, so they probably use the same people, and that's why it looks familiar, similar to that way. But there's a scene where one of the antagonist in the movie, the one that's trying to stop Herbie, has a dream about Herbie, and he goes and there's like a bunch of little Herbie Volkswagens that are animated, and they come out like little. I always thought, well, as a kid, I thought it was really cool, and they come out in like this kind of soldier-like stance and try to attack him in some way. So it's done. It's the art, the way it looks is very similar to this, kind of like a dark background and it's a dream sequence, and I think I found it on YouTube a few years ago because I couldn't remember which movie it was, and then finally I went on. Someone had uploaded it to YouTube. I was like, oh, there we go. Now I remember seeing that. So, but if you've seen that movie, you'll definitely see some similarities between that and this, as far as these two scenes go. So,
Yeah.
but let's see. As far as uh, overall, so if I were to divide up, yeah, I would say the artistic part of it is definitely but very good. So if I had to separate it from that from the story, I would go a little bit higher as well. So I would definitely agree that especially the blending of the live action, the animation was done pretty well. And the how they did this, like the movement of the clothing, it's really done. It is really well. I mean, it's like you see the shoes when you're on. It looks like you would expect to see strings. I didn't see any strings or anything like that. So, and maybe just the copy I have could be kind of old too. Maybe that's why you can't see it. But if I had an HD version or something like that, maybe you might be able to see some of that stuff. But I really don't see how they did all this. I'm not. I wasn't. It was just flowing so well. It's just I didn't care because it just seemed to work really well with the scene itself. All the scenes were animated very well, regardless if it was like cartoons or just the stuff with the soldiers, or the stuff moving around. It was done very, very well. So
Yeah, I agree.
Alrighty. Anything else you'd like to add to this?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, as far as recommendations, how would you recommend this for people to watch?
Yeah, for kids and then people maybe studying the history of animation or something. Yeah.
Okay.
Would you?
I would say probably if I knew of a person who had kids, I would say probably yes. But yeah, for anyone else, probably no. So if I can see, like you said, a child liking this, and I've heard of this movie my entire life, but and this is pretty much the first time I've ever seen any of it. I mean, I knew images and shots of it, so I never knew what the story was about. So for me, it's always been there. It's just something that's just I didn't really care to see. And if as far as me going to watch again, probably not. I don't think I could see any reason unless I had a child or something. Maybe I could show it to them. That would be the only time. So yeah, just for children's sake only. So
Yeah, I agree.
so alrighty. So I guess we both seem to be pretty much the same. Was this Angela Lansbury supposed to be there? Was in this? Is that supposed to be her?
I think so. I was confused by that scene too. I was confused by a lot of the scenes, but I just kind of went along with them because I like the art of it.
Okay. I can't. It's hard to imagine her doing that kind of a thing. She doesn't come across as that thing. Also, I didn't realize she was British until I saw this. So or because in Murder She Wrote, I never really watched Murder She Wrote, but she spoke with an American accent, didn't she?
I have no clue. I remember I would see that show like on the Up Next thing, and I've never watched it.
Okay. Okay. I never watched it either, but I could have sworn maybe I'd seen scenes where she was talking, and maybe yeah, like I said, I've never actually watched it, so maybe she spoke with an accent there too. I have no idea. So alrighty. And oh, by the way, I'll bring her bio up here. She is really up there. It's amazing how she's like 97 years old. In 3 more years, she's going to be 100 years old. I was like, wow,
Mm.
she's really up there. So that's amazing. And so I bring that point up there, all the things she's been in. So
Congratulations to her.
yeah, that's incredible there. So, and I'm looking at the things that she's been in. The only thing I ever knew was Murder She Wrote. So all these other shows, I'm not sure if I've ever seen her or not. So, but anyway, okay, let's bring our question up from earlier. Give me a second while I bring that up here. Okay. Let me click this little button and we'll get an idea of what we got. There we go. So far only 29 votes. Oh, and by the way, I discovered, see, there's something about YouTube. See how it says 0 comments, yet we have a comment at the bottom. If in order to bring the comments up, sometimes you have to go down here and hit new first to get the comments to come up. And the number will still say, will read inaccurate. I don't know why their system does that. So from now on, every time we do one of these, if I forget to do it, just tell me to make sure I hit the newest comment first so we can see the ones that are actually hidden. I don't know why that happens, but that's just the way it is. So,
Interesting. Okay.
so we got so far 29 votes. Which coffee brewing method do you like best? Pour over is 83. And tie with 7% with was that Mocha Dot and French Press, and 3% with other. And Cold Brew Drip gets an absolute zero. Interesting, but that's only with
It is a
29.
less popular. It's a newer brewing method, so it's less popular.
Okay, and we got before I go too far, we got Xavier leaving little comments. I'm not sure what that is. But he says hi, so hi back. So pour over. So we didn't actually go through these. What is pour over? Is that just like what process is this? Obviously, a lot of people who voted said it was the most popular. What is that exactly?
The pour over, if I'm remembering correctly, it's the same as like a brewed coffee, just like your regular coffee brewer. It's like a pour over coffee brewer.
Okay,
The cold brew is it's when you leave coffee in cold water for like 24 hours and that brews the coffee over a very long time. The mocha or maca pot, it's like a I don't know if I don't really know the um pronunciation. That one is I think it's from like the 70s sort of area. Um and let me see. You okay, so you place it on the stove. I've never done it before. Um but it's like it's a specific pot style. It's like hard to explain. It's a specific pot style. Or like a brewer style. They're like
here
I
we
don't know
go.
how to explain it. It's
Does that help
there's
at
like
all?
yeah, I would pull up a diagram or something.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. There's like something happens inside that is special and people like really like it a lot of the time. Um I don't have the words for that, but
That,
um
now that looks very familiar. When I was a kid, we had something that looked like this. So this might be something that my parents used to do when I was a child.
yeah, it was very popular for a very long time and I think it's kind of having some sort of small resurgence in popularity. Um but yeah, it's kind of like almost as strong as espresso, but
Okay.
not quite.
Okay. That's good. And these differing brewing methods. Excuse me, sorry, I had a little belch there. But as far as the brewing methods, I mean, are they? Does it really change the taste that much? I guess does it? Is it really that much different?
Yeah, I feel like personally my coffee tasting palate is not very refined yet, but I can taste the difference between like a brew coffee and a French press. French press I think is it to me it's a little tastier, but it's like one of the reasons why it's you have to love it as a hobby is because it takes so long to like develop your palate and figure out what you like and don't like about coffee because I mean, I guess for the average consumer of coffee who doesn't really care, all coffee kind of tastes about the same. Um which is, perfectly fine way to consume coffee, but if you really want to develop your palate, it can become like wine where if you use you know, a different temperature to brew or something like that, it'll change how it tastes. So,
Okay, all right, interesting. Whenever I see different kinds of coffee, I always think the taste has to be changed by adding something to it. I didn't realize that just brewing it would make that much of a difference. So
yeah, the amount of coffee that you use, like the grams, the amount of the coffee that you use, the temperature, how clean the coffee maker that you're using is, where the coffee beans come from. It's like a bunch of different factors that go into it. I had no idea. I feel like it's again, it's a total iceberg in that way.
and we do have one comment. By the way, I did hit refresh a couple of times, and the two that were tied are now slightly off. The mocha pot and the French press are now 9% and 6% rather than 7.
Ooh.
Then we got one comment from Jose Guadalupe Martinez Zapata saying El Oxo or Oxo. So not sure what that means. Hope it's a good thing. So alrighty. Go one more time, just to the heck of it, see what happens. And no, nothing else there. Let me get my magnifier. Okay, anything you'd like to add to that before we say goodbye to everyone?
Um, Not really. Thanks for listening. I hope you have a wonderful evening.
Yes, and thank you. And don't forget to, if you'd like to support us, you can always click on the NordVPN link that's in the description below, and we really appreciate it. And we'll see you next week with a new show.
Bye. Thank you.